Hello, everybody. I was going to continue streaming after I was done, like, sort of kind of just like fucking, not drawing, I was going to continue streaming after I was done eating, but, people showed up and I don't really want to do it anymore because I have to, like, kind of get loud and I don't want to be disturbing. So, where is my pencil? Today, so instead, I am just going to record another yappy thingy where I draw, and I'm gonna draw the chapter 3 thumbnail for tomorrow's stream, as well as like whenever I upload the edited down version. So yeah. That's what we're doing right now. We are real first designing the opening credit and stuff like that. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about because I don't know. I never know what I'm going to talk about. But hey, woo, look at that! It's the chapter 2 thumbnail. Woo! This is the cool shit. And now we're gonna get another group in there, and we're gonna keep on going with more thumbnails. This one should be a lot easier to draw. I'm just gonna be drawing like the Tessa, like Chris's like TV, and their like living room, or Chris's TV with Susie and Chris like kind of smushed together semi, like stuck within the box set with like Tessa's like smile thing in the background. Chris is TV. Chris TV Delta Room. I'm just searching up a I'm just searching up a reference real quick. Okay, yeah, we got it. It shouldn't be too hard to draw. What the fuck? Okay, hold up. This is the coolest shit ever. So how do you guys think of Chris will recruit chapter 3 targeters? Because he has to, because they have to get them out of there, fucking their themselves. So that's kind of funny. Let's go ahead and get this TV design going. So it's just sort of kind of like a square with like a fucking yeah, it's just like a square, but it curves at the middle. If I just sort of kind of do that and then do that and oops shit and do something like this. Well, it's not. It's yeah. It's more like actually square shaped. So now that we got like kind of like a shape going here, we can just take it and boom. If that's in the center, I don't know. Hold up. Yeah. Let me just real quick move it. My keyboard. Boom. Keyboard moved. Ow, I just fucking bumped the shit out of my elbow and it hurt like Dickinson. But yeah, now that we got that going, we just have to copy, paste this. Sorry, I have to fix my thing. And yeah. Oh, but I've been having a lot of fun playing Deltarune. I can't wait to play chapter 3 tomorrow. I just really want to get this thumbnail done before I play it. Like, I know it's like, oh my god, you're missing out. Everyone's playing it, but like, I don't fucking just do shit just because everyone's doing it at the same time. I want to play Deltarune because fucking I'm a fan. Duh. I ain't doing it just to like hop on immediately. I'll have like a couple videos out about Deltarune, like 3 of them. One about chapter 1 and 2, the third one being the third one, the fourth one being the fourth one. I'll have them out eventually. Like once I'm done streaming and recording them, I'll spend like a good chunk of my time just editing them down, right? And it won't be that hard because it's a progression based game where a lot of walking, a lot of places to cut out. I will be fine, okay? Whenever I explore and find things I'm really bad about I kind of picked up a bad editing habits because of like an old series I edited for myself. It was like a world thing. Here, let me just pop something up. If I can find it, because I saved those videos because it's the only series I actually finished on my old channel. Um, it's like somewhere in here. Okay, well, we'll go to like this one, and you'll kind of see like how I edit this. Like for all the new sections, I just wouldn't cut out because Rain World is interesting enough where you could just keep on exploring with like basically no need to cut out. But if I ever died, I would just like cut. I would just like But yeah, yeah, but like if I ever like died, I would just cut the walk back, so I wouldn't, so you won't have to see me enter the same area like over and over and over again. Because in Rain World, if you die, that's a lot of backtracking. But in Deltarune, it's not going to be like that. No sirree. Deltarune is you pretty much go to one area once. Maybe like if you wanted to look at it again, then you go back. But it's never like you have to, or like that's where progression just takes you, right? So I need to get out of the habit of editing videos like that because that's how I started doing that for like everything, and it just does not work with everything. So we'll just try our best to make it like actually entertaining. Okay, I guess now I just sort of kind of boop boop try to get this into the center of the TV. Good way to check about that, by the way, is by like doing something like this, and if they're all in the corner, then you're good. Does that look right? Just about right. Yeah, that's right now. I just want to get the shape going. Let's go ahead and combine these layers. What am I gonna talk about, man? Because I do actually want to like legitimately get some words out this time around. Yeah, okay. Well, it's not gonna be perfect. I can just like fix it later. But recently my brain has been weird as fuck, dog. Like every single like day, like my brain just sort of kind of randomly decides, am I gonna have a nice day today? Am I happy, or am I very very, or am I gonna freak the fuck out for like no reason, right? Because I'm mentally ill, and there is no real rhyme or reason. There's like episodes that kind of last a few weeks, and it kind of like sets my mood for a while, but like it is pretty much for the most part, am I or am I not going to be a sad sack of shit, you know? And recently I have been on the opposite spectrum of shitty, and I've been more on like the super happy, right? But not really, It's like super happy, but with the um with the caveat of of like being super duper duper drained like by the end of the day and feeling like just completely empty inside, which I'm already used to emptiness. I just don't want to deal with the also the drainage of the feeling so drained after everything, you know. Okay, let's try to get an angle here. Let's just start with the base things. Let's not fully draw Chris and Susie. Like let's like get just yeah. Okay, so there the shoulders are there. But yeah. But like but despite feeling quote unquote good and better, like and like at the end of the day crashing out and stuff like that, or not in the current internet way of saying crashing out, but just sort of flatlining emotionally. It's I'm like my fucking schizophrenia, and like actually like seeing stuff and not being able to like differentiate reality, that has been really really bad recently. Like just literally this morning, it was like near the end of my work shift, and I was talking to my coworker, right? I thought they were standing right next to me, and I was having a conversation with them for a flat like 30 seconds, right? Because I kept on turning over and I kind of saw them, right? And they were standing right next to me. Or not right next to me, but like 2 feet away, right? They were in a very visible area, like I could see them, right? And I was talking to them for like 40 seconds, And then I look off into the distance because I work in a warehouse, right? And in the warehouse, it's like it's pretty open because there has to be a bunch of trucks that park, and once they're all gone, it's just a big open area. And I see him like across the fucking warehouse, like sweeping, and I'd go like, "Huh, that's weird." And I turn and I look, and the fucking dude's gone, and he's now down there. And I was talking to my fucking brain the entire time. Like I wasn't talking to anybody. It was just me like speaking to nothing. And that actually tripped me the fuck out because it never really has been like full blown like holy shit, you know? Like that straight up like actual psychosis, but that was the first time I legitimately it was the first time I legitimately like fucking like actually like I don't know how to describe it. Because I've had situations like that before where I was walking or I was like and like out of nowhere like I would like I'd see something and it would just disappear right in front of my eyes. Not even like the corner of your eyes seeing something. No. Full blown just in my face staring at me and then like I blink and it's gone type shit. And the thing is though, I think it's kind of been building up since I moved because one time while I was riding my bike to work, it was already daylight, right? It was like five something. I was riding my bike to work. The sun was already up. It was already super bright. And as I'm riding my bike, like a snap, I didn't even have to blink for it. Like a snap, suddenly it was dark as shit. The stars were out. The moon was above my head. The street lamps were on, and there were shadows. There was a car coming at me, and it had its street lights on. I was like bugging out, tripping out. It was like it was the coolest thing ever, right? But I was just like whoa, and then I blink and it's morning time again. It's like the time it actually is, and I was like, and it bugged me out. Like I just sort of kind of continued riding my bike to work, and I told my work buddy about it, and he's like that, and he just sort of went like he just laughed about it. It's like yeah, it's pretty weird because he laughs about everything, even if it's not funny. Like not because he's trying to not because like he legitimately thinks it's funny. It's just kind of awkward whenever it's just kind of awkward talking about that stuff with like I guess your work friends. But we get along really well. We all get along really well. So it's like it's not that big of a deal. Okay, yeah, it's supposed to be like kind of stuck up against the glass. I'm gonna draw Chris's like red eye glint thing, and like their arm down here, and then their hand like up right here. They're like trying to get out. They're trying to get out. And then you have Susie. She's gonna be like, I'm gonna put like the back of her head against it, like looking over her shoulder, because I don't want to have too samey of a pose. Okay, so we have Susie. She's gonna be slightly taller than Chris in this shot, but she's gonna be like this, and then boom, like this, like this. She's gonna be like trying to push up against it, and then you have her like nose thing, and it's gonna be kind of long. But yeah, it was so fucking crazy. Like those two times, and it was like this one was literally the first one I told you about where like I saw my coworker but they weren't actually there. That was like legitimately like this morning. That was not like unrecent. I came like that just happened. I can fix the Susie in a bit because it's like it's not really that satisfying of a drawing yet. Something about it just kind of bothers me a little bit. You know what? Hey, I just thought of something. I'm gonna shrink this down a little bit. And I'm gonna put like people like look like watching the TV. And like I'll even do like the cowboy guys that you see in the trailer. You'll have like little wires up here and like a spotlight on them. Hold up. Tessa Smile Deltarune. I'm really hoping I don't get spoilers by seeing like an actual Tessa because I know chapter 3 is out and there's probably images around the internet right now. Tessa Deltarune Smile. Okay, good. I was able to find a reference without a spoiler in it. And now I can have the Deltarune chapter 3. Deltarune chapter 3. Right there. And we can have Rouse here, like looking at them like worried. Have like a little sweat thing so you know like he's actually worried and not just like watching them. Oh yeah, fucking I can have his arms like on top of his head, on top of someone's like head, like pushing them as they like try to like crawl to them or something. And I have not watched chapter 3 yet. I don't know what happens. This is just like this is just sort of kind of like a cool drawing that I think like any fan could draw for it because it's like they are like kind of in a TV. They're not in a TV, but there's definitely going to be TV elements. Boom. And now we have the sketch. Now we have the rough sketch. We're going to kind of do like a little bit of just drawing over it. It's probably not going to look perfect, but it's fine because we will probably just go over it again. Hold up. Susie doesn't have like the straightest of teeth, so I'm not gonna try to make them super duper straight. Also, I need the references near me so I can see it a little bit better and just draw them better. These are old, but like you know. I just need to see Susie's hair, like kind of just go in and out and look at it. Something like that? No. See, this is why I need the reference like look at. I could just make it like really small. Okay. Yeah. That's the plan. Make it small. Make it small as hell. Man, I'm getting fucking excited as hell. I've mentioned this like already like a billion times, but there's shit I want to talk about that I can't talk about yet. I gotta wait. I gotta wait. Oh yeah, but my fucking friend at work, another one, they gave me like a freaking a hat with the fucking flags on it. With the fucking flags on it. And I thought it was chill as fuck. I thought it was cool. It was awesome. They asked me how I liked it and I said I fucking hated it. And they knew I was messing with them. I was like, yeah, whatever. I saw your reaction. You didn't hate it. Like your face like immediately lit up. I'm just like, no. No, not me. I never take kindly to anything, actually. In fact, I freak out all the time at everything, always. And I don't mean freak out as in like an involuntary thing. I mean, I get mad intentionally and I'm angry at you type shit, you know. How dare you? Don't you know? Don't you know this is offensive? But yeah. Okay, that's I just want to look at the fucking reference, but it's in the way now. Let me just like actually the hair should be kind of semi pressed up against the screen, right? Because right now Susie is pressing against it, kind of like pushing back at it, right? So it should be sort of like. But I kind of want you to see her eye, so I'll take some creative liberties here and there. Oh yeah, let me draw like her nose like kind of scrunched up because she's like pissed off. Yeah, that helps a lot with the expression. Good fucking, that's awesome. Hell yeah, I'm having a lot of fun drawing this. Let's see if I can actually like stick with it though. Because I do want to finish it like relatively soon. Because like the moment I get to actually like play Deltarune 3, I want to have a thumbnail for it. Because not just because like oh it would like attract more people, but mostly because I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have like art specifically for my thing that I made of Deltarune, you know, to celebrate the occasion. Like I don't want to half-ass everything. Even though I semi half-assed the first thumbnail, but I at least finished it. I just couldn't. I had to rush it a bit. Also, you noticed a major difference in this thumbnail, so I'm not including my fucking me, even though it was all of them were meant to kind of include me for like thumbnail reasoning and like being like, oh, it's my channel. But like, you know, I ended up just not doing it because I came up with some really cool scenes that I wanted to draw on the stream earlier today. Which, by the way, if you do want to see me play Deltarune, as if, you know, no one's watching this, like, I'm just saying this because habits, because I did have a channel where people would see this and would show up if I mentioned it. Just sort of kind of like, hop in, dog. I'll be streaming it tomorrow. I don't really have a set time. I probably should make a schedule for streaming again, but, like, I just don't know. I just don't know, dog. Maybe whenever I move out, which I am still trying to do. Maybe whenever I move out, I'll like actually work on a schedule. She's supposed to be like kind of pushing against the wall with Chris. Should probably angle Chris down a little bit since like I probably want them pushing and not being pushed against it. Nah. Whatever, I can fix that eye in a little bit. Now for the Chris drawing. Oh yeah, that's right. I should probably like fucking fix that line art. I don't want to get ahead of myself because last drawing like the line art was super duper shoddy, and I just right now want to get it good because I've been really slacking on my line art recently. Like heavily slacking on my line art. But that is fine. That is okay. It's not like it's all of it's for myself anyways. It's not like it's specifically for anybody. So it's okay if it's not like perfect. If I ever like started getting commissions, which I hope I do eventually, I won't slack on line art. I won't be like that. I'll do what I'm doing here, like actually try. Because it's that's someone paying me at that rate. That just wouldn't be cool. Hmm. I wonder if there's like anything else I can talk about now. Oh, I fucking love Chris and Susie and Deltarune. They're my two favorite characters. Chris, my favorite, and in Deltarune, my Chris and Susie are just my favorite. I freaking love them. I would fucking die for them. I like how angsty Chris is, and I like how fucking cool Susie is, in like the cool, awesome way. And like all the, it's just I love them. They're awesome. They're awesome. My favorite characters, and my favorite character in Undertale is Burger Pants. He's honestly he's meant to be like a loser, but like Burger Pants is cool as shit. I'm not gonna lie. If I had Burger Pants as my friend, I'd be like, hey, you know what, Burger Pants, you're freaking awesome. And I don't know how he'd react, honestly. Pants has such a strangely unpredictable character. Like, he's like, is he a weirdo? He's just a dude? Like, is he misunderstood? Like, I don't know diddly squat about Burger. He's just some guy who works for Metaton, the most part. Should I just like have Chris kind of be like chill with it? I kind of like the face I drew, so nah, nah, he's not gonna just. They are not gonna just be chill with it. Sorry, I am trying. I swear, I'm trying. I don't want to make it too fucking blocky. I also don't want to make it too like fucking round. The mouth is too high up. That's the problem. What the hell? Hello? Oh, it's this. The lasso tool is all weird. Okay, sorry, I'm like getting really encapsulated, so I'm like not talking as much. But dude, I wish I could get into it. Like, my favorite freaking like you know how I think I already talked about ships in Deltarune, did I? I don't know, but I'm not one to ship typically. I take that back. No, I am totally one to ship, but like not typically like games like this. Like I don't ship anyone in Amori. I really don't give a fuck in Amori who ends up with what or other games like that. Blah 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 blah. In games I don't really ship, right? But in Deltarune, I find it hard not to. Like I don't like fucking. I just like I ship the fuck out of Chris and Susie. Like I in my brain I like imagine like scenarios where they grow the fuck up and they're just like, you know what, I'm just gonna follow you. And that can be either one saying that to the other. And then they do, and they just sort of kind of get an apartment somewhere out in bumfuck nowhere. And that's like the dream. Okay, this hand fucking sucks horribly. It's also getting really hot in my room again. So I'm gonna turn on my fan. I'm gonna put it on like one, and hopefully you don't hear it. But yeah, Deltarune. Yeah, that's a lot better. I need to get another inhaler. Mine's empty now, my current one. But I was not like actually like put down for like a thing to get like constant inhalers. Like for a little bit I had bronchitis, and so they gave me an inhaler for that. But the thing is that I kind of always had an inhaler. I just hadn't. I kind of forgot to fucking mention it when I was at the hospital that I do typically just use inhalers because I have like I don't have like insane asthma. Like it's like like there's like people with like really really bad asthma, and then you got me who it's just like every single once in a while my chest would get tight and hurt and like my breath would get shallow, asthma type shit. But it typically passes in like a while, and it's not like that big of a deal. I wouldn't need an inhaler to feel better after a little bit. But, but, uh, I'm just gonna, I don't know. I really want to draw the hand there, but at the same time, it's kind of just being really difficult. So, yeah, but then they look really stiff, dude. I mean, they're kind of supposed to look stiff, but you know what I mean. Like, it's like even the posing is stiff. That's not what I'm going for. I'm not going for stiff posing. I'm going for here. Let me just go back to the sketch. We'll do this. We'll go back to the sketch and we'll just draw the hand. Maybe I can like do something like this where the hand's more like over here. Okay, so if the hand's like something like that instead, maybe. Okay, Chris Deltarune, let me get your reference over here. I really like drawing armor. I've always kind of had like a little bit of a knack for it. And I had one of my favorite characters to draw when I was younger. and stuff when I was in high school here. I'm gonna try to find them. It's like in a practice file somewhere. Fuck. It's probably buried underneath all this shit. Drip drop. Where the fuck is it? I guess that's not in here anymore. Hold up. Let me find it in my files then. Spaghetti and practice is what it's called, or new practice. Yeah, there it is. Okay, it's probably in here. I drew it before I moved. Like maybe like a couple months before I moved. So it's an older drawing, but it is still a good one. This is when I was trying to like learn anatomy a bit more. I was trying to do things more detailed and like small, and like I was foreshortening better with like hands and stuff like that. And I was like messing with style. Oh yeah. Also, there's this little guy. I drew Casey from Homestuck, and I was really proud of this perspective. I thought I did a good job on that. If I can find that's Dead Cells. That's WX78. There it is. Here, let me just remove the coloring. But like, this was one of my favorite characters to draw growing up. It's the character I made, and like their whole dealio is there's like these apprentice people, right? And okay, so there's 5 what the fuck did I just close? Okay, thank God it saved. Okay, so here, I think I need to open Fire Alpaca to show you this guy, which is even older, like several years old. Hold up. Fuck. I'll make a video where I just go over all my really old art, but it's called, the file I believe is called, I think it's just called Practice. No, it's called Guy. It's called Guy. Yeah, Guy. And brace yourself. This is like an old fucking drawing, by the way. The lips are, I drew lips weird back then. See, I was proud of this, like the hair and shit and the shading and whatnot, and the way that the face like does that. But I should have just. There's things wrong with it, but that's not what I'm bringing up. It's this. This is Simon. I didn't draw his face because I kept on fucking it up. But this is an older drawing that I did of one of the Southern Mage's apprentices. His name is Simon, right? He's not fully important right now, and we're gonna open Carcat 2. I have a file called Carcat 2, right? And this is just where I would just draw a bunch of really crazy shit, whatever. Like I drew this, I was proud of that. I drew this. I'm still very proud of this one. What else did I draw? This one's called I don't know because I don't know what the fuck I was doing here. I was just kind of drawing. But then you go all the way like around here. Here, wait, is it this one? Nope. Is it this one? Nope. That's a bad drawing. Oh, there it is. It's literally labeled Simon. Now this is Simon. He's fucking cool, right? So he is the main character of the comic, and his whole dealio perfilio back then in it is that there are 4 great mages. There's 5. There's 5 great mages, but 4 of them have apprentices. Typically, 1 to 3 of them, right? And he is the apprentice of the Southern Mage, as well as like other lady. You can tell who is apprenticing who by typically what they wear and how they act and how they use their magic, right? Like for instance, Simon and the Night Lady, they wear armored stuff and loose clothing underneath their armor, and they tend to use weapons and mostly alchemy in their fighting style, right? And because the quarter mages, they all focus on different aspects of like the region that they govern, right? The Southern Mage focuses on the militia, training, and like military and defense, right? Like they're basically they're basically the end all be all of like who we end up going to war with, but that's not the point of it. The point is also like for this actual like Southern Mage, like yes, he is very important because at the time it's a guy. He is very important for picking what ends up happening and when it comes to like if they're going to attack anybody. But and he gets like final decision, but that doesn't really happen in the comic. They don't invade other regions. They don't really do any of that. They just sort of kind of pay attention to themselves. And it's mostly meant for like like developing ways to like just like make sure ne'er-do-wells aren't up to no good, right? That's how the Southern Mage would kind of describe it. Though he does realize that if we went to war, he is actively developing spells of like mass destruction, right? Or mass death because they can't. They're not like nukes of spells. He can't really fire off a nuke with like its magic. He's not capable of that. No one's capable of that. No one will be capable of that for a while, right? And definitely not within like this iteration of the comic. Simon is supposed to eventually get that strong, but you won't see him get that strong. There's gonna be like a kind of like a gap between the first comic and the second comic of like the two of like the sequel one, in which Simon is gone. He's presumed dead, but I don't know, like he's presumed dead, but like whenever he ends up leaving like his closest person he leaves his closest person behind with the experiment with his like greatest creation, the thing he calls perfect, right? And they can't really comprehend what the fuck this thing even is, right? All they know is that it's sort of a homunculus, right? But I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to talk about the mages, right? And the whole dealio with that of the mages is that the Southern Mage they do militia. The East and they like the Southern Mage, yes, he's the boss, he's the leader, he's like the general of everything, right? But at the same time, he spends a good chunk of his time developing spells specifically for combat orientation and like helping people with communicate, transfer, and just like keeping stamina up. They also create tools, right? Like Simon, he ends up impressing like everybody because there's a form of magic that people call dark magic, but it's not called dark magic because it's like it calls upon dark forces. It's just given that name because it's frowned upon using because using it because you're the way it works is that you kind of suck the magic out of other things to empower yourself, but like since all living things in this world kind of need the quote unquote magic, which is gonna be which is actually like the power system is based off of like kind of like a push and pull, not like the force, but like it's like the sun is their sun is going to be kind of greenish yellow in the sky. Everybody on this planet is heavily irradiated, but they evolved to sort of kind of absorb it and just like in their body refines it and it comes out as sort of kind of like a weird energy that can perform alchemy and like rip atoms and move things unnaturally, create flames midair just by kind of causing like a spark of ignition. And people just sort of kind of naturally do it without fully understanding what's happening. And you got people like the Southern Mage and the Corner Mages, and just like they're not the only ones who know. Like there's obviously other smart mages and scientists in the world who know what the fuck they're doing, and they're doing it with more purpose. And they can, if they want, they could create gold out of like rocks and shit. They just don't because obviously they're like responsible with magic. But there's other people who are smart there who aren't responsible with magic, and that's what the Southern Mage is for. Then you have the Eastern Mage. The Eastern Mage, their whole thing is about policing the system and making certain like nothing crazy is going on, right? Because at this point in the story, like it's not gonna be really talked about. It's just sort of kind of like subtle world building here and there that will kind of bleed into the second comic, which it will be talked about. But the Eastern Mage is whole thing is that if one of the corner mages steps out of line, they're supposed to go in and say, "Hey, don't do that, don't do that." And if they lose their shit, they're supposed to be the one who takes them down, right? And typically, they're not always capable of doing that by themselves because like corner mages and the central mage, they're basically kind of all on the same. They're kind of all on the same footing, so like there's a high likelihood that if they decide to go after another mage, they could just be attacked and killed pretty easily, depending, you know. Like right now in the story, the weakest corner mage is the southern mage, and there's like a whole explanation why, but I'm not going to get into it. And fuck, what was I saying? Here, I also want to fix the pose of this arm, but like, yeah, and that's the Eastern Mage's job. They make sure people aren't committing crimes with magic, right? And then after they figure out who's committing crimes with magic, why, what exactly the nature of it, then they get the Southern Mage involved, and he sends out a militia, right? That's sort of kind of how that balance works right there. And um, there are obviously two more. There's two more. Like to make some mages by nature tend up working more with each other than others. Like the southern and eastern mage, they tend to work a lot together. The southern and western mage tend to work a lot together, and with no we know and they all are pretty intertwined. The thing that they have in common is that they're all under the watch of the central mage, who is the leader of the region. They're like a semi-elected role, right? You have to be a quarter mage to become the central mage. Like there is no exception to that rule. It has always been that way, and it will never ever change, right? And this is supposed to be like because like these people, like obviously, like because they're powerful, right? They're powerful and not just like also like just not just like powerful in like their magic, but politically, because they were already in one of the quarter mage positions and they know what they're doing. They've already interacted with the system before, right? And that's sort of kind of the idea. And but yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the Eastern Mage. The Eastern Mage, yeah, I already no, the Western Mage, they catalog things. They just basically get information, and their whole job is to just study. They study, they study, they study, they study, right? And they go out, they leave the region, they help out neighboring regions, they help with relations and other things, right, like that. Like for instance, I want Simon. He, even though he is the apprentice of the Southern Mage, he does not end up becoming the Southern Mage because he's just not fit to be it, right? Sort of, he ends up just sort of kind of being like really bad at like leading people. Like he is trained in combat, right, by the Southern Mage, but he ends up just being more interested in like making shit, and that's reflected in his invention with which I'll get into in a bit. But like the Western Mage, they leave the region constantly. They have usually the most apprentices who look after their library, which is like their wizard area or their mage area or whatever, their dwelling. And in this dwelling, that's where they conduct their research. So they're either in that thing for like months on end, or they're outside the region for months on end. One or the other. You rarely, rarely, rarely ever see them like just about. And if you do, it's because they were summoned by one of the other corner mages. And yeah, and that's just their deal. Their deal is to go out, help people, relations. They deal with the outside world. And then you have the Northern Mage. The Northern Mage is focused on like medical research. They conduct experiments. They do blah blah blah, and they basically are they're pretty heavily focused on how can magic specifically help people. The Eastern Mage does this too because they're focused on like the protection of magic and shit like that, and how we can use it to like not harm the environment. But like the Northern Mage is specifically focus on how will help humanity, you know? Right. Like it's not it's a more of a selfish desire for like humans, right? He ends up like the Northern Mage tends to have the least amount of assistance, sometimes not even having any. I mean apprentices. Sometimes not even having any, which is rare, but like that just happens because they out of all the ones, they're the most into their work because they're constantly trying to come up with like new things like help like everything, everyone. They're the most ambitious. They're the ones who are most likely to kind of go off the deep end. So they're typically under scrutiny of the Eastern and Central Mage, right? Just to make sure, yeah, they don't go off the deep end. What the fuck? Oh, I'm stupid. But yeah, and that's sort of kind of the system, and they all like stand underneath the Central Mage, who keeps an eye over kind of like all of it. And back to Simon's thing. there's dark magic, right? Dark magic is not dark magic because it calls upon our dark forces. It's just because it's a very, very, very damaging to the environment and just also very fucking scary. Because it's like you can't just use dark magic on a person typically and just like rip all their energy out of them and then have them like fall on the ground dead. No, you have to be either significantly powerful or that person doesn't have to have, or that person doesn't have a soul. Which a soul in this comic is like an organ that they the reason why it's called a soul is because way back when whenever magic was being more discovered and they found what it was and where it was being produced, they thought it was like something magical, right? And they thought that was like the culmination of a human being. But later on, they after doing like research, they realized that yeah, no, this is just flesh and blood, dog, sort of. But it like pulses with the energy because it's like its whole deal. Its whole deal is like messing. It's like this whole deal is like refining this magic and like digesting it into their body and spreading it kind of like your normal digestive system, but because it's like constantly creating this the essence that allows, not the essence, but since it's constantly creating like this weird radiation that people can kind of use like their brains to like mold, it kind of just like radiates with magic and like repairs itself, and it does come off as otherworldly, even though there's like in this universe like the laws of physics kind of explain it, you know, in this universe, not our universe, like this comic universe. Like obviously the shit is like fucking insanity. I'm not gonna even claim that you could theoretically have this in sight. No, it's impossible. I'm not gonna be dumb. Um, but yeah, oh yeah, but yeah, dark magic, and so people don't like dark magic. Because it destroys the environment. It's very scary, and yeah, and the reason why people with souls can't have just dark magic use them and have like the mana ripped out of them is because souls kind of have like they create an aura, like a barrier, like a sort of kind of like someone's what they still call it is like a willed manifest, kind of like think about Luffy's Conqueror's Hockey, how like a blue shroud like kind of goes everywhere, and like whenever it's like being used in like early anime, think of like that, but it's typically more of a color that represents the character in the comic, right? And it doesn't knock people out, but that's just sort of kind of like their effective range in which magic will appear, right? And that like essence is what kind of stops people from just ripping mana out of them, because they have to somehow overcome that. And since it's being constantly generated within their body, it's like it's kind of gets more and more harder. And if like you're trying to use dark magic to like touch someone and like kill them with it, it's just like good luck, buddy. Good luck, buddy. You're not even gonna be able to do anything. Type shit. And after, but yeah. So, getting to Simon's invention, he ends up creating what he calls runic magic, right? Which people have used runes before, right? And they kind of like do whatever, but he specifically used it in tandem with quote unquote dark magic to like encapsulate, to slowly like push his own mana into it, right? To like suck it out of him and put it into this like stone that is fixed with quartz and surrounded by some like really like insulating like object that he like carves, right? And over like the course of like a couple weeks, or over a course of like a couple hours, days, maybe even a week, he would charge this thing kind of like a battery, right? And after they're done being charged, doesn't have to be charged anymore. That thing is chock full of like this weird radiation shit, right? And so Simon just like, let's say he's in a battle and he's like has a normal amount of mana because obviously he hasn't charged a battery in a very long time. It just sort of kind of every single time it just stamina type shit. He doesn't even notice it because he's charging it so slowly. And now he just has all these like backup reserves of mana where like he's fighting somebody and he's going kind of a little bit too overboard. So, and he runs out of energy way faster than everybody else. So he just sort of kind of sucks that shit back in. He uses dark magic to suck that shit right back into him, right? From the battery stones that he created, which he calls runes. And this was like crazy. This is like a discovery. People knew already knew you could sort of do this with dark magic, but it's like attempts to like really create something has not really worked. And they looked into like crystalline things or whatever, blah blah blah, but they just sort of kind of went at it weird because they like they always try to like put in like living shit because living shit is what creates like this weird radiation like and stuff like that. Like rocks can't do this. Like they're just normal or radiated rocks. But like on this planet, the radiation is not like radiation doesn't really kill them. It's just like normal energy that's everywhere. Like yeah. Fuck. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah. So yeah. So that's sort of kind of like was like Simon's discovery, and it kind of like impressed a lot of people because like they're always trying to put stuff in like trees, they're always trying to put stuff in like really strong wood and stuff like that. Like, and they have like put it in like they have like used it on like rocks or whatever, but like they found that for the most part, it just sort of kind of immediately dissipates from the item and like sort of kind of just goes into like the ground and shit and like disperses itself. And so Simon started reading up and studying stuff and like looking at whatever and like and he he like looked at a crystal he looked at a quartz clock and he went, well, that stores energy pretty well. So he starts like experimenting with like, well, quartz, yada yada, blah blah blah. And for a while like he's not really getting anywhere. So he starts trying to like look at other things that like he has a really difficult time like pushing like mana into like this one like rock and it soaks up so much of it, right? But it just won't go through. So he thinks, hey, if I can't use this thing, if this thing can kind of trap it, but it just won't go through or nothing, and it's like whatever. Why don't I just put the quartz that like can kind of store energy, like a lot of it, but like because the shit's like weird radiation, like blast through atoms and whatever. Like I'll just put it in this thing and kind of like. And like after like experimenting with it for a while and like messing with like carvings or whatever, he was able to like finally figure it out, and so he created runic magic, and everyone was like, "Wow, you actually fucking did it!" And this dude's like 16 at the time, and this is like a feat considered unprecedented, like something that like they were considering to maybe be like not possible with like what was like around, because like trees would just rot, and like trees and plants will just rot. People couldn't handle it. Like most materials were either just didn't take it in at all, or if they could take it in, immediately like just like sort of kind of didn't chuck it out, but just like you know just didn't stay in there, didn't stay charged for long enough for it to really matter. You know what? Why don't I put Ralsei there? You know what? I fucking never mind. But yeah, but yeah, and so he ends up using them often in battle, and there is probably going to be a scene where he warns somebody, "Hey, hey, don't use that," and they're just like, and then they use it, and they end up like start dying from like radiation poisoning because Simon like he uses them in a way where like once he like puts them whenever he like takes all of it, he like immediately starts using it, so it doesn't like start hurting him, right? But these other people, they get like heavy radiation poisoning, which they call mana poisoning. Oh yeah. Also, if like these people like somehow like came to our world and like tried to exist in it, If we stood near them, we would die. Like they, like it would be like standing like to next to one of these people would be like standing next to like the elephant's foot in Chernobyl, like while it was still like super super duper radioactive, right? Like it's kind of like that. You would just straight up die standing near these people, and if they lived in our world for an extended period of time, they would slowly also begin to die because they need that like they need radiation to like actually like function. Like their body shuts down without like copious amounts of it. So like whenever they eat, like their body like digests it. They get it from the air, they get it from the sun, and like other stuff like that. And yeah, whatever. But yeah, they would like slowly die on our planet because there wouldn't be enough for them. And that's sort of kind of like the world building I want to try to go for. Here, I'm gonna draw a spotlight here instead. I'll make the spotlight smaller. Oh shit. Bruh. Okay, sorry, the fucking thing was being annoying. Yeah, okay. That is sort of kind of the idea of this thumbnail. But yeah, now I just have to get the Tessa smile behind them. Here, maybe I make this bloke smaller. Sorry, I'm like not talking again. My bad. Put this bloke back down here. then rotate them like that. Oh, sorry. I'm cracking my back right now. I'm also cracking my nuts. That is not what I meant to say. Fuck. Fuck. Damn. What was I thinking about? No, I'll finish drawing this tomorrow. I don't really have anything else to talk about, and I want to play. I want to finish the Deltarune thing already. So that is that. This Yap Hour will actually just be an hour. Bye bye.